After Tehran launched attacks on Pakistani territory earlier this week. Windstorm unleashes chaos in Bintulu, severely affecting 184 residents from 47 families. Premier Sarawak Dato' Padigi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tonapeng attends dialogue with MAYBANK and fund managers. We begin with this news. Pakistan said earlier today it had carried out strikes against militant targets in Iran after Tehran launched attacks on Pakistani territory earlier this week. Iranian state media reported 3 women, 4 children and 2 men were killed in explosions in the country's southeast.
This morning, Pakistan undertook a series of highly coordinated and specifically targeted precision military strikes against terrorist hideouts in Sistan-o-Baluchistan province of Iran. A number of terrorists were killed during the intelligence-based operation codenamed Margpar Sarmachar.
The attack comes after Iran confirmed carrying out strikes against a terrorist group late Tuesday in Pakistan, an attack that Islamabad said killed 2 children.
This morning's action was taken in light of credible intelligence of impending large-scale terrorist activities against Pakistan by these terrorists. This action is a manifestation of Pakistan's unflinching resolve to protect and defend its national security against all threats.
Iranian media reported that several explosions have been heard in several areas around the city of Saravan. Pakistan's foreign ministry on Wednesday recalled its ambassador from Iran and blocking Tehran's envoy, currently in Iran, from returning to the country. The missile and drone attack targeted the Jaish al-Adl group in Pakistan, Iran's government said, after Tehran's also launched attacks in Iraq and Syria against what it called anti-Iranian terrorist groups. Tehran and Islamabad frequently accuse each other of allowing militants to operate from the other's territory to launch attacks, but it is rare that official forces on either side engage. The Iranian strikes add to multiple crises across the Middle East, with Israel waging a war against Hamas in Gaza and pro-Palestinian Houthi rebels in Yemen attacking commercial vessels in the Red Sea.
A sudden windstorm unleashed chaos at Iris Garden apartment in Jalan Sultan Iskandar, Bintulu, ripping off the roofs of 6 apartment blocks in the premise. The incident, which occurred at around 2 p.m. early today, severely affected 184 residents from 47 families.
Jadi hanya tiba-tiba aja, tiada apa-apa, hujannya memula tadi, hujan. Kemudian tiba-tiba anginnya dari belakang nunya, dari belakangnya, dari blok 5, blok 6, blok 5, tapi dari antara baru tu, antara ya hanya mungkinnya pondok kami ya. Aku tu perisi situ. Kemudian abang yang go head blok 2, blok 2 ke blok 1. Itu yang kuat, blok 2, blok 1. First time. Lama-lama tu apa hal banjir, saya kisah kami ya. Banjir tempat-tempat syadar gitu atau yang anianya berberi dengan kami buatlah kami reda lah.
Oh, kami kejut dah sebab sebelum kejadian berlaku laki kami ada call kami masih kat office nyatek call yang mana kita ongsi si hujan kan yang mana bendong ada situ guna palu ni mada macam hujan tu mada macam mau start kuat angin yang ada kami angkat baju depannya angkat baju seminit depan datanglah puting beliau yang skrip mata aja.
Live people orang dari tiga hari yang lalu loh. Kami udah tarik baru si macam salah. Nah, ada lah bang si bala mati ke dalam mana. Cuma kami steady aja lah. Nggak ada rundi yang kayak gini nih, nggak ada malam-malam.
The incident went viral on social media when the weather phenomena was captured on video by witnesses, prompting widespread shock in the online community.
The Premier of Sarawak, Dr. Patigi Tan Sri Abang Johari Junapeng, this afternoon attended a dialogue with a delegation from Maybank Investment Bank and fund managers at a hotel in Kuching earlier today. The Premier fielded various questions on the economy at the half-hour session moderated by Anand Pathmakantan, Regional Head of Research at Maybank Investment Banking Group. The question, among others, touched on education and talent development, the 2030 post-COVID-19 development strategy, the banking sector in Sarawak and its function to develop the SMEs, the Sarawak Sovereign Wealth Future Fund, as well as strategies and investment prospects in the renewable energy sector in particular. Among those present was Sarawak Financial Secretary Dr. Wan Lizosman Wan Omar, Director of EPU Dr. Lester Matthew, Officer in Charge and Chief Operating Officer of Maybank Investment Bank, Tunku Arif Azhar, Tunku Mohammed, and Abang Jamili Abang Julai, the Regional Director for the Sarawak region. Deputy Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan, received a courtesy call from the management of Kuwait Foreign Petroleum Exploration Company earlier today. The courtesy visit, led by QFPEC's country manager, Muhammad Al-Sabti, took place at the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, Industrial Terminal and Entrepreneur Development or Mintred office in Kuching. In a statement issued by Mintred, revealed that the courtesy call was aimed at discussing several investment opportunities in the oil and gas sector between Sarawak and QFPEC. Representatives from Petroleum Sarawak, Petros, Sarawak Energy Berhad SEB and Invest Sarawak were also present during the meeting. His Royal Highness, the Regent of Pahang, Crown Prince Tunku Hassan Al Ibrahim Alam Shah Ibni Al Sultan Abdullah Riyatuddin Al Mustafa Bil Shah visited Petros Darul Hana multi-fuel station on Thursday. His arrival at 10:45 a.m. was welcomed by Deputy Minister of Energy and Environmental Sustainability, Dr. Haslan Abang Hipni, and Deputy Minister of Utility and Telecommunication, Dr. Abdul Rahman Junaidi.
During the visit, Tunku Hassanal was briefed by SEDC Energy Chief Executive Officer Robert Hardin on the collaborative operations between SEDC and Petros in the effort to implement hydrogen-based energy usage. Afterwards, he visited the algae nursery site Resentec SEDC in the Mak Laut Industrial Park. During the visit, he received a briefing on sustainable aviation fuel, SAF production technology from algae, which has been proven to generate a new form of energy while benefiting the environment. The briefing was conducted by Adam Nasir Nawi, the Chief Executive Officer of Project Delivery and Technological Commercialization at Petronas Center of Advanced Technology. Tunku Hassanal is in Kuching for a 5-day working visit from January 15 to 19th.
Matters surrounding Sarawak's environmental autonomy are still under negotiations with the federal government. According to Deputy Minister of Urban Planning, Land Administration and Environment, Sarawak, Dr. Len Talef Saleh, the matter of administration had been finalised. However, some legal matters remain to be addressed. He reiterated that there are levels of authority that need to be looked into, as it not only involves the transfer of power, but at the same time, the budget has to be discussed as well.
Yeah, actually, that process of discussion with the ministry already ongoing. There already some progress on that discussion in terms of because there are so many level of the authority that we need to look at. Not only transfer of power, but at the same time, what are the budget that come with it? Because it has to be discussed as well.
He spoke to reporters after officiating the 7th Natural Resources Environment Board, NREB, and the Sabah's Environmental Protection Department, EPD, dialogue session held at a local hotel in Kuching earlier today. As when the process is expected to be completed, Len Talif disclosed that there is no timeline set, as the process involves complex issues, especially the legal aspect. He pointed out that although environmental matters will be under the state's jurisdiction, there remain certain matters that fall under the federal government's responsibility, such as financing.
The first offshore patrol vessel, OPV-1, fully built in Malaysia, has officially commenced its first operation by undertaking surveillance in the waters of Sarawak, specifically in the South China Sea area, beginning today. Home Ministry Secretary-General Dato' Ruji Ubi said, with the addition of this fifth OPV for MMEA, it is hoped to enhance the security of the nation's maritime borders.
He added that this is especially crucial in Sabah and Sarawak, in addition to addressing threats to sovereignty and potential encroachment by foreign fishermen. He said the presence of OPV-1, assigned to safeguard the state's waters, especially in Beting Patinggi Ali and Beting Raja Jarum, serves the additional purpose of minimizing the risk of exploration and petroleum companies becoming targets for sea robberies. Earlier, Ruji and his delegation departed from Kuching International Airport aboard an AW-139 helicopter, which then landed on the vessel. According to Ruji, the naming ceremony for OPV-1 is slated to be officiated by the Prime Minister's wife, Dato' Seri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail, at Pending Port soon. Meanwhile, on the progress of OPV-2 and OPV-3, he said both assets are anticipated to be delivered within the next 2 years, each currently at 76% and 56% completion, respectively.
7 new border control posts in Sarawak and Sabah is part of ongoing efforts to strengthen the security of the Malaysia-Indonesia border. Eastern Field Commander Lieutenant General Dato' Muhammad Sofi Muhammad Lepi said these new additions serve to bolster efforts to curb illegal cross-border activities and is expected to be completed by the end of this year.
Di mana yang saudara-saudari sedia maklum, mulai tahun lepas dan jaga siap pada tahun ini ada sebanyak 7 pos-pos keselamatan yang kita bina di sepanjang sempadan di Sarawak dan Indonesia. Tujuan kita bina pos-pos ni adalah untuk kita mempertingkatkan kesiagaan kita di sempadan.
He said this during a press conference at Penwisen Army Camp earlier today. He added members of the Army can request for additional equipment as well as the construction of security posts to enhance operation readiness.
Okey, untuk pos-pos ni sebenarnya kita ada blueprint, kan? Daripada apa yang kita ada pada hari ini, kita ada lebih kurang 18 pos total, kita pertingkatkan. Kan tujuan kita mempertingkatkan tu supaya kita dapat mengawal kawasan-kawasan yang lompong dari segi pengawalan sempadan itu sendiri. Okey. Sebenarnya tahun lepas kita ada siapkan 3, kan, ada 3 pos yang siap. So pada tahun ni bermula pada tahun lepas lah 2023 tu kita buat ada 7 pos di Sabah dan Sarawak, yang mana 6 pos di Sarawak dan 1 pos di Sabah, kan.
At the same time, the Army is also working with Indonesian Army in curbing illegal cross-border activities, whether they be from the Indonesian or Malaysian side. The border control posts that have been fully completed or under construction in 2023 include Kandai Post in Lunduk, Tong Nibong Post in Serian, Malikin Post in Balai Ringen, Naga San Post in Lubuk Antu, and Sawang Post near Lubuk Antu, and security posts in Barrio.
Coming up right after the break, new Employees Provident Fund EPF CEO to be appointed soon. And Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim maintains a resolution to waive his salary. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. A decision on the appointment of the new Chief Executive Officer for the Employees Provident Fund (EPF) will be made in the near future. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim, while speaking to the media during a unity government retreat, said several candidates' names have been submitted, but the appointment must undergo several screening processes. The position is presently vacant after the former CEO, Dato Sri Amir Hamzah Azizan, was appointed as the second Minister of Finance in a cabinet reshuffle on December 12th. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim stands firm in his resolution to forgo his salary for the roles he assumed since November 2022. Until the nation's economy achieves a full recovery. Anwar, also serving as Finance Minister, said that Cabinet Ministers share the same commitment to a 20% monthly salary reduction. He said when speaking at a press conference in conjunction with the Cabinet retreat of the Madani government on Thursday. Previously, during his inaugural press conference as Prime Minister on November 24, 2022, Anwar declared his decision not to receive a salary for his roles as Prime Minister and Finance Minister. He characterized this move as an initial step to earn the people's confidence in his leadership. Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Aziza Aminah Maimuna Iskandariah today accepted an honorary diploma of batik craft for the National Craft Institute (IKN) for valuable contributions in elevating the standard of the national craft industry, especially the batik textile art. The honorary diploma, which is the highest honor conferred by the institute, was presented to the Queen by Deputy Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Khairul Firdaus Akbar Khan, at the Istana Negara.
Speaking to reporters after the ceremony, Khairul Firdaus, on behalf of the government, expressed deep gratitude and congratulations to Her Majesty for having taken the country's craft industry to the global stage.
Raja Permaisuri telah memperkasakan dan mempromosikan seni kraft tangan kita untuk sekian lama. Ini berjaya ditunjukkan sewaktu pelbagai lawatan yang dilakukan oleh Raja Permaisuri.
Meanwhile, Malaysian Handicraft Director General Ainul Sham Ramli said Tunku Aziza's collection of 30 pieces of batik theme A Queen's Touch, an exploration and experimentation in batik Inderapura, will be exhibited at the Kuala Lumpur Craft Complex in conjunction with this year's National Craft Day. The collection was made personally by the Queen throughout her 3 years of involvement with IKN. He disclosed that Her Majesty had devoted her time and passion to batik craft at IKN and created batik pieces using her ideas, including patterns and selection of colors. As such, he reiterated that that is a very valuable skill of Her Majesty, which she also shares with students and instructors at IKN.
The National Film Development Corporation Malaysia, FINAS, is continuing its commitment to actively strengthen the works of local filmmakers through the organising of knowledge-sharing seminars by local film practitioners. Its chairman, Dr. Kamil Othman, said the inaugural program aims to provide opportunities for the younger generation to delve into new perspectives of film art and to recognise local film directors.
Mulai pada tahun 2024, kita hendak berhasrat nak membuat ni sebagai satu siri yang bukan sekejap ada, sekejap tak ada. Kita buat ni dalam satu siri, dalam bentuk siri. Jadi maknanya lepas ni kita nak akan tengok pula macam seminar di mana asasnya adalah knowledge sharing. Dan lagi satu pula kita akan meneliti banyak lagi short filmmaker Malaysia yang dah filem-filem mereka dah sampai ke peringkat dunia dan mereka pun akan menjadi itu. Sebab tujuannya ialah macam kita nak membagi inspirasi kepada especially generasi baru, student-student.
He was met at the Tiger Stripes Film Talk Seminar program in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. Meanwhile, the director of Tiger Stripes, Amanda Neil Yu, who successfully clinched the main award at the 62nd Cannes Film Festival Critics Week last year. Her desire to empower women in the industry is translated through the dominance of women as a force in the production of her directed films.
For me as a female director, I wanted to represent that. I wanted to make characters that were, more layered, more complex, and kind of have that representation on screen. So I've seen a lot of women in certain fields, but I'd love to see more women in camera. I'd love to see more women, more in the technical side, and I think that's always been a very boys' club.
Tiger Stripes is the fourth Malaysian film to compete in the Cannes International Critics Week since 2010. The film will also officially represent Malaysia for the Best International Feature Film category at the 96th Academy Awards in March 2024.
Coming up next, the prosecutor of the gang behind Ecuador TV studio attack assassinated. Meanwhile, Singapore's transport minister resigns of corruption charges. Plus more world news on TVS Nightline after the break. Thank you for staying with me. And now on to our world news. The prosecutor investigating a dramatic armed assault by gangsters on live television was shot dead on Wednesday in the bloody escalation of an ongoing war between the government and criminal groups. The prosecution team says Cesar Suarez had been in charge of finding the gang responsible for the terror-inspiring attack on state-owned TV television last week in the port city of Guayaquil by hooded assailants armed with guns and explosives.
Images of Suarez's car showed the window on the driver's side riddled with bullet holes on a street in Guayaquil, the nerve center of Ecuador's fast-escalating drug war. Defense Minister Giancarlo Lofredo said the government rejected all forms of violence and reaffirmed its commitment to supporting institutions in the administration of justice. The murder came amid a surge in violence in the once peaceful South American country, which has become a hub for the global export of cocaine from neighbors Colombia and Peru. The government last week declared war on powerful drug gangs who in turn threatened to execute civilians and security forces and carried out a wave of attacks that have left about 20 people dead. Police entered the studio after about 30 minutes of chaos, arresting 13 assailants, many of them teenagers. The attacks, seen live by many, caused widespread panic across Ecuador, with people leaving work early to seek shelter at home.
Singapore's transport minister has resigned his post after being charged with 27 offences in a corruption probe that has also ensnared a billionaire hotel tycoon. S. Iswaran was arrested in July 2023 and released on bail in connection with a rare top-level graft investigation in the city-state. 61-year-old Iswaran said he would plead not guilty to the charges filed by the Powerful Corrupt Practice Investigation Bureau when he appeared in court earlier today.
Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong revealed shortly after the hearing that Iswaran had submitted his resignation from the government, Parliament and ruling People's Action Party (PAP) on January 16 after being given formal notice of the charges against him. Most of the charges against Iswaran relate to corruption, but he also faced one charge of obstruction of justice. Among other accusations, he is allegedly to have accepted tickets to high-profile sporting events and stage shows from hotel tycoon Ong Beng Sang, one of Singapore's richest people. Ong, the managing director of Hotel Properties Limited, was arrested the same day as Iswaran in 2023 and also released on bail. The Attorney General Chambers, in a statement today, said it will take a decision in respect of the investigation against Mr. Ong and others after the case against Mr. S. Iswaran has been completed.
It has been a week since the International Court of Justice (ICJ) conducted public hearings on January 11 and 12, 2024, where South Africa filed a case against Israel on December 29, 2023, accusing it of violating the Genocide Convention during operations in Gaza. However, as per French Foreign Minister Stéphane Séjourné, South Africa's action has crossed the moral threshold and France does not support it. And as always, Israel and its benefactor, the United States, have dismissed the case at the ICJ as groundless.
The U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller specifically said that the case was unfounded and claimed that, quote, those attacking Israel are openly calling for Israel's destruction. Simultaneously, the German government has decisively and expressly rejected South Africa's accusation, denouncing it as a political instrumentalization of the UN Genocide Convention with, quote, no basis in fact, which Namibia, a former German colony, sharply admonishes Germany, accusing it of an appalling failure to heed the lessons of its own gruesome history. Between 1904 and 1908, Germany orchestrated the brutal massacres of more than 70,000 indigenous Herero and Nama people in Namibia, marking a dark chapter recognized by historians as the first genocide of the 20th century. South Africa's legal initiative has garnered official endorsement from Turkey, Jordan, Bolivia, the Maldives, Namibia, Pakistan, Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, and Malaysia. Furthermore, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation (OIC) and the Arab League have declared their support for the case. As of now, the Gazan Health Ministry reported following Israeli bombardments and ground assaults in Gaza, a staggering 24,448 Palestinians have lost their lives. Among them, over 70% are identified as women, young children, and babies.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. For more headlines anytime, anywhere, just head on to our official website at tvsarawak.my or follow us on our social media platforms at TV Sarawak. Those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I'm Shol Shameto. Thank you for watching and have a good night.